Some stories are born from imagination, but others are disturbingly real. What if the monster in the dark wasn't just a trick of the mind? What if the nightmares of childhood were warnings we ignored? This is the story of my friend, Ethan Caldwell. One I wish wasn't true. I grew up in the backwoods of Washington State. My family lived on a 5-acre plot of land, most of it swallowed by dense forest, stretching endlessly beyond our property. My brother and I lived for those woods, climbing trees, catching frogs, running wild. It was everything 2 boys could ask for. One late summer night when we were about 8, I heard something. A scream, far off, somewhere in the trees. It wasn't the yipping of coyotes. This was different. It was human. My window was open, and the sound chilled me to the bone. I ran to my brother's room, shook him awake, and opened his window. He heard it too. Not wanting to bother our parents, we decided not to say anything. After about a week of these screams, we decided to tell our parents. They dismissed it, saying it was just coyotes, nothing to be afraid of. But the screams didn't stop. In fact, they got closer. Then things started disappearing. My skateboard, my brother's bike, even our pool inflatables, all gone. We told our parents again. They insisted we had simply misplaced our toys. The screams were getting so loud, so close, that I stopped sleeping with my window open. But one night, I still heard it. A low, guttural wail, right outside. I peered out. At the edge of the trees, a figure stood, tall, too tall, a man, with bulging, unblinking white eyes reflecting the moonlight. He wasn't moving, just staring at our house, staring at me. Then his gaze shifted. He saw me. I couldn't move. Slowly, he stepped forward. His long, spindly legs carried him toward the backyard fence. He loomed over it, then moved for the gate. I felt like I was drowning in fear. He was getting closer. His skin was stretched too tight over his skull. His mouth locked in a soundless scream. Patches of hair, missing, like they'd been torn out. His clothes, ragged, covered in filth. He wasn't wearing shoes. He stopped beneath my window, staring, silent. Then, a blood-curdling scream erupted from his unmoving mouth. I bolted. I ran straight to my brother's room. He had heard it too. Together, we stormed into our parents' bedroom, screaming. But they wouldn't believe us. Just a bad dream, they said. The last week of summer was the worst. The man with the bulging eyes would stare at me from the tree line at night. Every once in a while, I'd see him during the day. But every time I yelled for someone to come over, he would disappear. When school started, I was relieved to not be home all the time. The sightings, the screams, they faded. Maybe my parents were right. Maybe it had all been in my head. Then, one late Tuesday night, there was a knock at our front door. My dad answered. It was a police officer. Our neighbors had called 911. Someone had tried to break into their pool house. The officer explained that the man had been living in the woods for months, stealing things from nearby houses. If anything had gone missing, it might be at the makeshift camp he'd set up. My blood ran cold. I slipped out the back door and crept toward the cop car, heart hammering. I had to see. I had to know. Pressing my face against the window, I peered into the darkness of the back seat. And then, something moved. A face, pale and gaunt, inched toward the glass from inside. Eyes bulging, mouth locked open. Filthy tufts of hair clinging to a patchy scalp. The screaming man. He hadn't been a nightmare. He hadn't been my imagination. He had been watching, waiting, and for all I knew, he still was. I guess, after telling this story, the message I'm trying to say is, kids aren't always playing pretend when they say there's a monster. I sure wasn't.